welcome to The Red Menace. We're a comedy news podcast bringing you the latest and greatest stories from inside, still, even more now. My name's Chris Bolson.
And I'm Alison Hoare.
So, because of the coronavirus, there's not a lot like crazy new exciting stuff to talk about. Normally in the intros, it'll just be like, what have we done this week?
Well, this week, what have you done? Not a lot.
Well, I've done something that I would say is of monumental importance.
Oh, yes.
In this dark time, we all want to retreat to something that we know is comfortable, something nostalgic that makes us happy.
Sure.
So I've started the great rewatch of all 4 seasons of The OC, famed 2003 teen drama.
Sure. Acclaimed 2003 teen drama.
You say that ironically, but it actually is the thing.
Well, there you go.
This is one of these weird situations where it's very rare for me to talk about a piece of media that I genuinely believe is good. Like, it's not something that happens often.
Yeah.
Especially since, like, I've just watched Pretty Little Liars, and you'd be like, oh, now he watches The OC, he's like all trash. I'm like, fuck you, no, The OC is classic.
The OC is different. It's not like other girls.
The OC is not like other girls.
I mean, random sitcoms.
It's got Misha Barton in it, and she's not like other girls in that she's not very good at acting.
I remember back in the day when Misha Barton was like the hottest girl on television. You know, like in the magazines, it's like, what's Misha Barton doing?
So Weird Things is. So she was 17 when they started making the show, and all the other actors were in their like early 20s. So that's weird.
It is a bit weird, yeah.
And I don't mean to begrudge Misha Barton. She seems like a perfectly nice young woman, but her ability to act is handily outclassed by literally everyone else in the show.
Sure.
Which is tragic, but weirdly kind of works for the show.
Why was she in it?
She's like the female lead. She plays the girl next door, Marissa Cooper.
Okay, Marissa, yeah.
Marissa, her dad, Jimmy Cooper, the worst dad on TV, is just like he's being investigated for like securities fraud or something.
Sure.
And Marissa's just got a lot of problems and substance abuse issues.
Sure.
But then she meets Ryan, the boy from the wrong side of the tracks. He's from Chino. He gets taken in by this rich Newport family, and it's genuinely very sweet. What I love about Ryan is that he seems like a very sweet guy who's trying to pretend to be a bad boy and is not very good at it.
I do like that. I like that.
And he sort of, that wears off over time. But there's some great line deliveries in the pilot where you just be like, fuck off, dude. That's not... Alison, I think you'd like the show if only for the soundtrack. It's got a lot of, like, classic early 2000s emo indie.
I feel like literally anything from the early 2000s has a soundtrack that I like. Like, I'll be watching some rom-com and it's like the absolute worst trash, but I'm like, actually the soundtrack kind of bangs.
The OC is at least partly responsible for the Killers becoming big.
Well, there you go. Which Killers song was in it?
It's Mr. Brightside.
Oh, of course. But actually Mr. Brightside got big off the back of the UK charts.
Yes, but I think the OC brought it to America.
Well, probably, yeah. Even though it's an American band. Anyway, they were much bigger in Australia and the UK than in America.
It's weird how that works. It's because they're pretending to be English.
Right, exactly.
Because they're like, what if we made talk songs? And that was our whole thing.
Yeah. But actually
catchier.
Our lead singer's a Mormon, and that's our main difference.
It's so weird. I love whenever the Killers try and do, like, Americana, and it sounds so incredibly hokey.
It's great.
Also, do you remember the time they did that song where the chorus was, "Are we human or are we dancer?"
I do. Because
you know
I really like that album. It's a great album because none of the songs have lyrics that make sense.
No.
Like the Spaceman song as well. You're
It's
like
gibberish.
looking for deep meaning, and it's just... if you listen to interviews with Brandon Flowers, he's just like, oh, you know, like, I live in Nevada, and it's kind of, like, cool. There's sometimes people see UFOs and shit, and you're like, oh,
What
I
love about that
You're
album
talking
is
literally about UFOs then.
It has 9 songs that are like that, or I think that "Are We Dancer" is supposed to be like a Hunter S. Thompson reference or something.
Right.
But like it's gibberish. But then the last song is about his mum dying, and you're like, Brandon, is this the time? Is this the place?
Oh, he recently... The Killers put out an SJW song recently, and they got in a lot of hot water, Chris.
What kind of SJW song did the Killers put out?
It was a pro-immigration and anti-border wall song.
Oh, I mean, now that we're covering both sides of the political spectrum, we've got to say that they make a lot of really interesting points, but you've got to remember that, like, you know, all immigrants are bad, and that's one of the two sides of the argument. I love that whole both sides. I've been thinking a lot about both sides.
Okay, Chris, that's why I'm like, it was so funny when people were like commenting on that. This is way off track, but it was so funny when people were commenting on that video, being like, "Oh, look at this SJW song." And it's like, okay, let's put it in perspective here. This dude's like a big religious guy, and in his religious and this whole pro-immigration and pro-refugee philosophy is based on his religion. I don't think that's very SJW.
No, it's actually a Mormon song deep down secretly.
Yeah.
When one of the sides is facts and one of the sides is outward bigotry, I just feel like, but you got to cover both. I think if I wrote a news website, what I would do is I would write the correct article, and then I would have a little appendix at the bottom that says, like, for those looking for both sides, here is all the bigotry. And then just put in assorted bigotry down the bottom.
Well, that's the funny
italics.
thing. Yeah. Look, it's like the 5G thing. It's like,
yes.
Well, we need to cover both sides on the 5G debate. So we have to say that 5G caused coronavirus, maybe. But
yeah,
factually it didn't. That's really off track. But anyway, there you go. The OC. You're watching the OC.
Oh,
it's got a banging soundtrack.
It's got a banging soundtrack. I got a bunch of friends came over yesterday, and we all were good and socially distanced and all that.
Of course.
Because none of us have coronavirus, we checked. And
you check coming in before they're allowed to hang out at your house.
Yeah, I have a bunch of swabs. I have a pathology lab there.
Oh, that's great. On site in everyone's homes.
For what it's worth, everyone drives. No one catches public transport or anything. But they were all... You know how when you want to try and get your friends to watch a show, but, like, that show is the OC, and they're like, it's a teen drama, like, I don't want to watch that, because, like, it's going to be garbage.
I really want to watch that, yeah.
And then what you do is you just kind of put the pilot of the OC on the TV without really asking anyone first.
You just don't ask... You don't... Well, Chris, you've got to ask
forgiveness.
First.
Forgiveness than permission when it comes to television.
Right.
And then what you do is you wait about 5 minutes and they all look at you and say, fuck you, I'm going to watch all of this now. Because it's that good. And that happened.
That's exactly how it went. And then everyone clapped.
So, yeah, if anyone in the audience wants to join me in the great OC watch of 2020, yeah, just do it. It's fucking sick. Alison, do you have a story for me?
Oof, putting me on the spot.
It's the core conceit of the podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really not.
When we were talking and doing our little preamble chat that we often do before we record this podcast, I did see something that disgusted me, that I was reacting to in real time. And
you shared this information with me and said that you'd share it with me on the podcast. And you're aware that I do have an anxiety disorder, so I just want you to think about the reaction that's caused on me and my emotional health.
I'm reading from news.com.au, but this is from the lifestyle and food section. And it says, TikTok video of woman's past a grazing table grosses internet out. A US woman who shared a video of her unique-looking grazing table has left some viewers disgusted. I would like to just firmly put myself in the some viewers category.
Okay.
I'm going to send you the link in a second, but I just want to read a little bit of the context first, and then I'll send you the link so you can have a look at this.
Because I'll tell you what I'm picturing. I'm literally just picturing like a big charcuterie board full of wet, sloppy pasta. So like,
you're kind of on the right track, but you've been very generous by putting a board there.
Oh God. Just a blanket covered in wet, sloppy pasta.
Essentially, yeah. It says, grazing tables are a food lover's paradise. A massive board filled with beautifully arranged morsels for guests to pick up and nibble. What's not to love? typically filled with cured meats, expensive cheeses.
When you nibble on food that you take from the charcuterie board, do you go, yummy, 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 every single time? Because you're not doing it right if you don't do that.
Personally, I wouldn't say I've done that.
Someone brings you like a carrot with some dip on it and you nibble on it and you go, Please continue.
I'm never serving food to you guys. Typically filled with cured meats, expensive cheeses, fruit, bread, and delicious dips, they can form the spectacular centerpiece of any posh soiree. But then one US woman decided to change things up, to the horror of social media viewers. Y'all have heard of a nacho table. I raise you pasta table, the woman said in the terrifying TikTok video. With more than 1.4 million views, the video shows her covering a table in foil before piling it with pasta and slices of garlic bread.
Oh, God.
I'm going to send you the link because you do need to scroll down and take a look at the pasta table in question.
Okay.
I would like you to imagine this. So you've got the table covered in tinfoil, you've got the pasta, you've got the garlic bread. Now, if you had that...
I like all of those things individually, except for the table covered in tinfoil.
Well,
that seems
personally,
weird.
I've never covered my table in tinfoil, but...
It would be so loud. Just so loud.
Take a little look at the picture of the grazing table with pasta.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Also, that's not like garlic bread. That's just pieces of burnt toast. Like, it's not... Also, she looks far too happy with herself.
She looks very pleased with herself.
So, I really hate... It's unseasoned pasta.
It's unseasoned pasta, Chris.
Loose. It's somehow, like, it's wet and sloppy, but just due to the fact that it's pasta and it has no sauce on it that I can see in any description. There's assorted pots and pans with steam coming out that's just giving this whole room a profoundly humid vibe. There's what looks just like loose mac and cheese, just sort of fucking
sitting on the other side of the table
onto the table with bread on top of it. This looks like someone made a big spilly mess. And that's like, yuck.
Oh, and the pasta would be so sticky.
And the pasta wouldn't taste like anything as well.
No, it's not seasoned. There's no sauce. It looks like there's a random lasagna sheet mixed in with the penne.
It does seem that way. And that's the other thing I've got to mention, is the vast 95% majority of this is just loose penne pasta.
It's loose penne pasta. No sauce.
Like, there's no pesto, there's no tomato, there's none of whatever the white one is that I forget the name of. There's none of the sauce. There should be some...
Well, I'm presuming the sauce is in those pots that are in the middle of the table.
This is the white people equivalent if I just poured rice onto the floor, like loose rice.
Okay, can I put it out there, though, that in Indonesia, we did have, like, a meal... And it was, someone put banana leaves down the middle of the room, and then there was rice piled on top of the banana leaves, and then assorted fried stuff on top of the rice. And that was good. And we all sat on the floor.
Okay, but that's on a leaf. That's not on tinfoil.
It was on a leaf. Exactly.
Leaves are cool.
If she put this on a leaf, it may have been a little bit cooler.
The longer I look at it, the more unhappy I feel.
It's really not great.
Especially because, okay, just to get into the sort of the picture aspect of it, the light on the ceiling is like an orange light, and that's being reflected in the tinfoil, which creates this like sickly hot look to the entire image. Like, this looks like it takes place inside a sauna.
Oh, I'm assuming this is like a frat house or something.
It surely must be.
Surely it must be. I'm going to keep reading some of the text right now that we've had time to process these pictures.
Process is a strong word.
I haven't processed it. I'm not quite...
I think the pictures have just bounced off me.
So now we've got someone commenting their thoughts. It says, as an Italian, I'm going to have to pass, said another. I feel like this was something that was better as an idea, a third commented, while other disgusted viewers said they'd pass on the anxiety-inducing spread. I would like to put it out there that we are in Corona times, and the USA is our extra Corona time. Let's continue. While grazing tables have been a popular party trend in Australia, the coronavirus pandemic has been their death knell as socially distanced eating becomes the norm. Indeed, with no cutlery visible in the video, many wondered how the food was going to be eaten, with one viewer saying the table gives her anxiety because of the risk of spreading germs.
You just bend over and lick it. Just like bend over and pick it up with your teeth like a fucking dog.
The thing I don't like about this way of serving food is
There's only one thing?
Well, there's many things I don't like about this way. How do you get your portion? There's no one's got plates. They're all just kind of sitting around.
Well,
And
yeah, but that's how I tend to work at. Say I'm at a gala, at a function,
Sure.
and there's like a table with various cheeses and grapes and cold cuts and
Yes.
assorted some such. If you go up there and you just like fucking pile the nice good slop onto a plate and then just like walk around with it, everyone looks at you like the animal you are.
Sure.
Like you've got to do like one thing at a time. But because
Right.
I'm a big, strong, growing boy, I want a lot of it. So I tend to just sort of exist in this perpetual state of transit back and forth between talking to people
Or-
and the table.
You do what I tend to do. You situate yourself far enough from the table that you're not standing right in front of it, but close enough that you can just like lean over and grab a morsel.
Oh, that's smart.
Now, remember we went to that art gallery opening thing for our friend Kate?
Oh, yeah, that
and
was fun.
we did spend a lot of time hovering near that food table.
Well, to be fair, Alison, the art gallery was the length of a big hallway, so once we'd been in there for 20 minutes, we kind of got the full experience, and there wasn't a huge amount else
there
to
was
do.
plenty of food for us to eat.
I mean, I believe that was how she conned us into coming, actually.
It was how she conned us into coming, I believe.
Not that it wasn't a fun time.
Now, I went to another museum opening thing that I had tickets for.
Ooh.
Well, I got like press passes, you know how it is. in
Oh
biz.
my gosh.
Anyway.
My favourite
Pete
press
Evans was
pass
there.
that I ever had was to a Lady Hawk concert where there was free drinks, and my at the time girlfriend I brought with me because I assumed I had a +1. Turns out I didn't, and I just kind of bullshitted my way into getting a +1 by being like, I did the full on like, there should be a +1 for Chris Bolson, and they were like, oh, I don't. It's okay, you just go in.
There should be a +1.
I'll be like, are you sure? It's Chris Bolson. There should be a +1.
And then they're like, shit, we don't want to question this. Who's Chris Bolson? Oh, now we're getting way off track. I'll tell this little anecdote. When I used to volunteer at an anime convention, it's a heavy load to put out there in the public
you
sphere.
fucking loser.
Yeah, I'm putting that one out there. Anyway, I don't actually like anime that much, to
That's
be
all
fair.
right. I run a Dungeons and Dragons game. I can't
Now,
judge you.
let me just, I need to put that context out there. There's a lot to unpack there already. I'm really sorry, guys. But I was, like, manning the door.
What a
like,
fucking cold shot that is.
I was the door person, and I'm checking everyone's passes I'm the security guard, basically. I'm the bouncer of the anime
You'd be
convention.
good at that. I feel like you've got the physique for it.
Oh, absolutely. So I was the bouncer of the anime convention, and then this one chick came up, and she didn't have a pass. And I'm like, sorry, can I see your pass? Like, I need to see your pass to get in. And she's like, don't you know who I am? I'm like, no.
You'd be like, are you the guy from Bleach? Are you Naruto?
Are you the Dragon Ball?
Are you Ash Ketchum?
Are you Pikachu
Are you
himself?
Pikachu? What's another anime can I
anyway,
think of?
I don't even know who she is to this day.
Are
She was
you Shinji? Are you the big robot?
She was some chick that supposedly was like a special guest, and I had no idea who she was, and I still have no idea who she was to this day. All I remember is her saying, "Don't you know who I am?" I mean, imagine being that not famous, but also thinking you're that famous. That was
What's the
my
name of the rabbit from Haru? That's another anime character I know the name of.
Well, there you go. Anyway, that's she could come in and have free reign of this pasta table, I'm sure. I'm just going to read the last little bits here.
Vegeta, which I always thought sounded like Vegemite or vegetables.
Isn't that, to me, Vegeta sounds like the name brand of like a vegetable stock?
Yes, because it's ironic because he has a very spicy personality.
Let's let's move on from anime. So we're just going to forget about plates now, one person asked. And that's called virus table spread, wrote another.
It's pretty fucking funny there, dude.
Before spreading it over the foil, the pasta was in several pots on the table, with many asking why the woman wouldn't serve her family from the pans.
I mean, it's a compelling question.
To be fair, like,
especially
it's a valid,
given that
it's a valid question.
Can't stress enough, unseasoned, unsauced pasta. There's nothing gained by slopping it out in the sunlight to just slowly dry out.
No, this for some reason links into another, like, random viral food TikTok. And this one, like, as an Australian, you might be a little bit disturbed by this one. It said last month, a US man also caused a stir online after he shared his tutorial on how to make fairy bread. Offending Aussies and Kiwis everywhere, Beau Coffron, known as the Lunchbox Dad on TikTok, went rogue with his favourite treat served at kids' parties across Australia and New Zealand. In a litany of errors, instead of butter, he used peanut butter.
Ew.
And instead of hundreds and thousands, he used shaped sprinkles.
What the fuck?
He also gave the fairy bread a lid.
It's in New Zealand too, that's fine.
A fairy bread, yeah. That was the New Zealand one. And did not cut it into triangles.
That is, and I don't say this lightly, that's a hate crime.
It is a hate crime.
We as Australians don't have much culture at all. So I really resent when you fuck up what little culture we have.
Right, exactly. Now, fortunately, this dad has righted his wrong, and he did make a second follow-up TikTok where he prepared fairy bread the correct way.
He made an apology video because he got cancelled over his fairy bread.
Essentially, that's what happened. And it said, after getting his someone said, "Bro, what is this, a joke? If you're not Australian, you do not have permission to make fairy bread, especially if you're going to stuff it up like this." And then someone wrote, "Why is America like this?" After that, after getting his two sons to taste his version and the proper version, he later admitted defeat. The boys preferred the Aussie fairy bread, as they fucking should, Chris.
I don't know why, but I like the two sons aspect of it, because I can just imagine him being like, well, I'm going to get... Wait, no, he's American. Well, I'm going to get my two sons to taste my fairy bread, and then we'll see whose is fucking better.
And then the son.
Exactly. And then cut to 2 days later. So I just wanted to talk to you guys. I just wanted to apologize, first of all.
I want to apologize to the nations of Australia and New Zealand.
I want to apologize to the good people of Australia and New Zealand. Great countries, good people. My two sons, they did prefer the Australian fairy bread recipe, and I am deeply sorry. I've made a donation to an Australian charity.
The Kiwi fairy bread recipe. Now, I'm not sure how the pasta...
And also, I did not fuck my cat.
Well, yeah, that's... I'm not sure how the pasta girl can come back from her abomination.
Oh no, she's done.
She's done. Like, there's no apology video you can make for that. You can't right that wrong. What's done
I think what she should do is lean into it, and now all of her follow-up videos, she should be wearing a jacket made out of alfoil covered with like little bits of pasta glued to it.
Great. Now here's what I think she should do next. A soup grazing table.
I'm just going to assume, Alison, right off the bat, there's no edges to this table. It all just drips on the floor, right?
Well, that's why you've got to have another layer of alfoil on the floor underneath, so you can just lick up.
It's let's call it what it is, a pool.
It's not even a pool, like a soup puddle. And we get various different kinds of soups, and you just pour them onto the table.
You just get your pot, and you literally just empty the pot onto the table. It will go where God intends it. Then you get another pot, empty it, like kind of next to it, but kind of on top of it as well.
And you just lick it up.
A nice, yummy soup slurry for you to paddle around in.
And then all the like little tidbits that you put on top, like the crusty bread, the croutons, the sour cream, the chives, just jump that on.
It was chunky soup anyway. Like it was. You don't need to add that much more to it.
Well, I think you always got to have the crusty bread though.
True, crusty bread is.
But the crusty bread just thrown on top of the pile of soup, like it's part of the grazing. Do you have a news story that's not disgusting food?
I do. This one was sent to me by my dear papa.
Thanks, Chris's dad.
This is from website inexplicably from website power100.com.au.
I'm sorry, what is that website?
I believe it is a Townsville-based radio station.
Okay, sure.
They've got, currently they're playing Love Your Way by Powderfinger, which sounds about
classic.
right. Classic.
Classic songs.
So this is written by no one, as far as I can tell.
The name of the writer, judging by the fact it's a Townville-based radio station playing Powderfinger, is probably something like Bruce Gaines.
So Bruce Gaines, they also just want me to know that they do have an official Power 100 app that you can download on the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. I don't think
anyone listening to Power 100 has a smartphone.
I mean, fair. ATM drug debacle, Hyde Park.
Okay.
Police have charged a man after he allegedly deposited dangerous drugs into a Townsville ATM by mistake.
How do you deposit drugs into an ATM?
Alison, dangerous drugs. It was alleged that around 6:20 p.m. on May 27th, a man deposited money into an ATM at a shopping centre in Hyde Park. I guess there's a Hyde Park in Townsville as well.
Oh, well, I guess there's probably Hyde Park everywhere.
Yeah, it's true. It is further alleged that among the notes was a small clip seal bag containing a quantity of cannabis which caused the ATM to jam and only deposit a portion of the money into his account. Also, dangerous drugs. Fucking narcs over at Power 100 here. The man
what drugs are they, though? How do we know they're...
It said it was a small quantity of cannabis.
Is that...
Apparently that's a dangerous drug.
Well, okay. I feel like Power 100 listeners probably did a little small quantity of cannabis in their time at
Yeah. I need to stress, because I feel like I'm weirdly on the cannabis train. I don't smoke it. I'm not that cool. Or I'm cool. I wouldn't
even know where to purchase cannabis.
No. If you could purchase it at the chemist, then I'd maybe, but it seems like a lot of effort at this point.
I don't even drink alcohol, for context. I don't drink coffee.
I drink both of those, but there's a number of emotional problems that cause that. So
let's just lay that out there and say, as someone who doesn't even drink coffee because it makes my hands shake because it's got too much caffeine.
And you don't drink alcohol just because you're so worried about the power and the fucking monster that it might unlock within you. You just a sip touches your lips and you turn into a kaiju and just rampage through the city.
Though? I think that would be too powerful.
I don't want to give you bad thoughts, but I'm not gonna lie, I think it'd be pretty fucking funny.
I think it would be a wild time.
Exactly.
Anyway,
but I respect your choices.
Anyway. A small quantity of cannabis was deposited into the ATM. Sure.
Which caused the ATM to jam and only deposited...
as it would.
Only deposited a portion of the money into his account. The man then allegedly attended the bank and disputed the deposit amount, stating that not all the money went into his account.
What do you do in that situation? I put drugs in the ATM.
Can you get them out? And also, you stole my money.
Yes.
Police conducted investigations and attended an address in Garrick Street, West End, and spoke to the man. The man allegedly admitted he had a small clip seal bag of weed, in inverted commas, in his wallet at the time of depositing the money into the ATM. The 29-year-old West End man is expected to appear in Townsville Magistrates Court on August 11th on a charge of possess dangerous drugs. Which, again, I think is silly, but, we live in a society.
It's Townsville.
Underneath that, there is a little, insert of the Power 100 Facebook page. Sure. And I'm just scrolling through some of the things they've posted.
I'd like to know what kind of content Power 100 posts.
I would too. They've posted a video of someone bushwalking from, a drone.
That's nice.
There's... a screenshot of an article that says, man uses piece of wood he put in garage in 1982 because it might come in handy in the future. And then Power 100's little caption to that is, finally it paid off.
Is this a parody or is this real?
It seems real. Then there's just they've linked to a Power 100 story saying that John Wick 5 has been announced, and they're saying, this is possibly some of the best news you will read all day. A fifth installment, with only one L, so they misspelled installment, of John Wick has been announced. Read more here.
Well, you know, they're very, They know their audience. Now,
There's a COVID update. There's
as there should be.
An ad for Townsville's best coffee at On a Roll
7-Eleven.
coffee shop.
That's
what a website this is, Power 100. Thank you, Dad.
Website. And thanks, Dad, for sending through that story about the dangerous drugs.
He can be your dad too now.
What do you think's going to happen when he goes to court?
The judge is going to be like, now, mate, this was a very dangerous drug that you did. It's illegal in this country, but at the same time, do you know where I could get the hookup?
Yeah, I was going to say, it's like, can you just
give me a phone number. It's all I need.
Did you buy that? Now, can I just out of interest? This isn't part of the question.
I have a nephew who says he's very interested in a scientific way. And I just need to get him some.
Did you buy that in Townsville or a surrounding town? Is it somewhere that's within, say, 2 hours drive from here? Just out of curiosity.
Is it somewhere that's within my jurisdiction as an elected official, or is it somewhere that it wouldn't be a conflict of interest for me to go and purchase some unrelated?
Out of curiosity.
I'm just interested. I want to know about the world and society, and I'm just interested.
Now, when would you? Okay, if I were to release you. And you say where to go buy some more. What time would you be leaving?
And just where would you go? What street? Just there's there's a lot of places. Do you have a story for me, Alison?
I have a lot of stories. This one is more actually a problem, but it's more what were they actually thinking when they created this?
Okay.
So I'm reading from CNN Business, and
ominous, but continue.
Ominous. Well, it's not really that businessy. It's about a toy that was created for kids to play with.
Oh, then I'm interested. Okay.
Yes.
Hasbro
is removing Trolls doll from stores amid complaints that button is inappropriately placed.
Oh, yes. Okay. Is it on the back or the front? Immediate.
Oh, well, let me get into it. So the doll itself is a little troll girl with a nice hairdo. I don't know if you've seen the smash hit film Trolls World Tour.
I have not, because it's not available legally in this country.
Right. Well, in the Trolls World Tour
which movie, I have to say is a travesty, because I would love to see Trolls World Tour.
I haven't seen Trolls World Tour, but this is a Trolls World Tour Giggle and Sing Poppy doll is the name of the doll.
Is that the Anna Kendrick one? I don't know.
Christopher, I don't know. I'm not a Trolls cinematic universe
You're not
aficionado.
a Trolls head.
Right, exactly. Hasbro is removing the Trolls World Tour Giggle and Sing Poppy doll from stores amid complaints that the button under her skirt is inappropriately placed.
You guys? No, thank you.
Hasbro says it is pulling a Trolls doll from store shelves after a petition with over 150,000 signatures accused the toy maker of promoting child abuse by placing a button on the doll's private area under her skirt. Christopher, who thought that was a good design?
What function does the button serve?
Well, we'll talk about that in a second. The DreamWorks Trolls World Tour Giggle and Sing Poppy has a button on her stomach that when pressed will prompt the doll to say phrases like, "How about a hug?" But many people have a problem with a second button that's placed on her bottom under her skirt that when pressed will cause the doll to make sounds such as wee and oh.
Oh, you guys! You shouldn't have! You really shouldn't have, though!
How did this pass any...
Oh my gosh.
How did they have nobody raise concern about perhaps that maybe
wild.
Not is the best idea?
The button on the button makes you go wee. Wow.
Yeah.
Yikes, guys.
There's a Twitter video that shows the toy in use.
I thought it might have just been like the reset button or something, and I was like, I mean, well, you got to put it somewhere. Like, what are you gonna have to like slide down her sock to get at the reset button or something? Like, that's just like a difficult design thing. But no, it's the button that makes her go wee and ooh.
Yeah, exactly.
That is literally the worst place you could have possibly put that.
Right.
I could not, if I tried very hard, come up with a worse one.
Now, Christopher, normally I'm not like a fuddy-duddy and like one of those parents who's like, oh, look, this toy is inappropriate because like it's a carrot, but it could look phallic. That kind of thing. But this is
just like that's just a good segue into the birds and the bees talk. Like that's
Right.
just healthy.
This one, on the other hand, I'm thinking, how did this happen? This is what the petition
I'm willing
said.
to bet that there is at least one person on Twitter that's just like, I think this is just a healthy expression of female sexuality in this child's doll.
When you push this button on the doll's privates, she gasps and giggles. This is not okay for a child's toy. This
That's
toy
not
needs to
okay
be
for an adult's toy either. You'd buy that at the tool shed and they'd be like, come on, you guys, this is a bit much. This is not kosher.
What will this toy make our innocent, impressionable children think? That it's fun when someone touches your private area? I mean,
I don't want to answer that.
Oh no, but for children.
For children,
No.
Yeah, no, that's different.
Children, no.
No.
Now, look,
some
the
Shane
wording
Dawson
is very
shit.
dramatic, but at the same time, they have a very reasonable point that I can see in this particular context. This is the one thing that I'm on side with Christian mums from Facebook on. Like, I'll sign the Christian mums on Facebook petition in this instance, perhaps.
Well, I've signed a few Christian mums on Facebook petitions before. Like, there was one about how, like, we as a society need to get back to Jesus and, like, how sex before marriage is a sin. Like, I signed those because, like, those are objectively true. But
Of course.
this one
Simply
I can definitely get behind as well.
Hasbro spokeswoman Julie Duffy told CNN in a statement that this feature was designed
We
to
fucked up. We fucked up
Well,
real bad. I'm so sorry. It wasn't me, but we did fuck up.
She's trying to say, but this feature was designed to react when the doll was seated. But we recognise the placement of the sensor may be
still
perceived as
weird.
inappropriate. This
Still
was not
weird if you sit
intentional.
down and go, ooh.
I'm
That's-
sitting down and be like, oh, like the grunting noise of like having to bend your knees.
Actually, when I sit down, I usually go, because I'm no longer standing up.
Well, that's
So maybe
true.
this is realistic, actually.
Well, who knows? This feature was designed to react when the doll was seated, but we recognise the placement of the sensor may be perceived as inappropriate. This was not intentional, and we are happy to provide customers with a replacement Poppy doll of similar value through our customer care team.
Without, like, a literal clip
Yeah.
to just, like, press. That's insane.
I don't understand, right? This is a big company. This is Hasbro. Hasbro has been making toys for a long time. How did no one in, like, the production and design of this be like, maybe that's not a good idea?
Also, it's because you don't get to work for Hasbro if you've had sex before. Like, that's the... Those two things are... They're mutually exclusive. Hasbro only hires virgins. That's
Oh, dear. I don't know. Apparently,
enjoy that fiction.
Yeah, it's... Anyway, don't put buttons on dolls' private parts that make ooh and ah noises.
Jesus Christ.
Unless you're producing an adult doll for adult fun. Then do what you want.
I think it should still make, like, the ooh noise. I want it to be, like, a fancy English
Of
person.
course.
Can I bring you a story sent to me by... Who sent me this one? I think this was sent by my mother. My
Yes.
mummy. My mama.
Thanks,
This
Chris's mum.
BBC News. Cheeky boar leaves nudist grunting in laptop chase.
I have seen this.
You seen this? A nudist...
Sorry.
It's very good.
I'm just remembering the picture.
Oh, it's delicious because it's not. It's a rather large man in that he's got one of those triangle-shaped torsos.
Yes.
And he has an extremely flat Conan O'Brien-esque butt.
It's like an indented butt.
It's an
innie butt.
An inverse butt.
Yes.
And it's just a big pig.
You know, like convex and concave.
Exactly. This is a concave ass.
Yes.
And he is chasing just a pig carrying a big yellow bag that contains all his possessions. And the best part is there's 3 other people who are more clothed to varying degrees watching him, just kind of chuckling, just kind of giggling along.
When I see this picture, I think this is objective comedy. Like, comedy is subjective. Whatever. People have their own opinions. But that picture, that's objectively comedy.
If you look at this and you don't find it at least a bit amusing, like you should go to therapy because there's something a bit wrong with you.
If you don't get some joy out of seeing a large nude man chasing a pig who's carrying his bag full of
Whilst
clothes.
other people watch and laugh good-naturedly, then you've got issues. And we all got issues, but yours are worse than mine.
Look, if you don't get joy out of this, I don't understand what you get joy out of. Can you continue with the story? Because I'm just like, I'm on a high now that I've heard this story again.
A nudist in Berlin got too close to nature for comfort when a wild boar snatched his plastic bag, which had his laptop inside. Firstly, that's an insane way to carry a laptop around inside a plastic bag. Have some more consideration for your possessions.
Right.
The naked man gave chase to the boar and her 2 piglets, much to the amusement of fellow sunbathers. Adele Landauer, an actor and life coach, also it's a great name, took photos of the chase at Teflus, a popular bathing spot, and put them on Facebook. "Nature strikes back," she wrote, adding that the man laughed it off. "He gave it his all, with not a stitch on," she reported. I then showed the photos to the man. He laughed soundly and authorized me to make them public.
See, now that's another reason why this is objectively funny.
Yeah.
It's because the guy's like, it's funny, put it online. It's like,
he's always dreamed of having his ass on the internet, and now his dreams get to come true.
I mean, there's not even the questionable, like, consent, like, oh, did she humiliate him? No, this guy's like, yeah, put it up, it's great.
Fucking put it. Well, I mean, he's French, so it would sound like put it up.
Put it up, it's great.
It is,
I don't know what accent that was.
That was like Czechoslovakian or some weird shit.
Maybe.
He was very focused. Miss Landauer provided more details on her Instagram page, saying the incident was a good example of someone persevering to achieve their goal. The delightful spin that she's put into this.
I would like to see that picture on a motivational poster. Like, you know, like those ones with like the black background and then the picture. And it's just, it's got the naked man chasing the pig
it just
with
says,
his laptop in it.
"Why do we fall, Master Bruce?" And
no, I'm imagining it's got the big words like persevere and it's the naked man chasing the pig. Beautiful.
Yeah, I get that. Never back down.
When demotivational posters was like the one meme on the internet.
No, I thought I'd managed to wipe that from my memory, but you have just brought it back. So thank you for that.
I'm just like Googling now, demotivational posters to remember when that was the one meme.
Oh, hell yeah. Give it to me, Alison. I want to hear about these things, these big pictures that make me feel silly.
Apparently people still make demotivational posters.
I'm not surprised by that.
I mean,
like, the Rolling Stones still make music, so,
well,
like,
that's true.
you know?
But now we'll bring them back exclusively for the use of that picture.
Do you have any good ones, or am I just going to keep reading the article?
No, they're all a bit shit, Chris. That's, you know.
Well, okay, fair enough. While the man was bathing, she writes, the boars calmly ate a pizza from his backpack. And then they were looking for a dessert. They found this yellow bag and decided to take it away, but the man who owned it realized it was the bag with his laptop. So he was very focused and ran up behind the boars in order to get it back. The onlookers adored him, how focused he stayed, and when he came back with his yellow bag in hand, we all clapped and congratulated him for his success.
I mean, to be fair, I would clap if I saw a nude man get his laptop back from a wild pig.
If I saw a nude man walking through a park, just like holding on high like a yellow plastic bag, I would clap because that's like a majestic image. The onlookers oh, I already said that bit. There is a strong tradition of naturism in Germany, where in summer it is quite normal for people to strip off in parks. The Back to Nature movement is known as, Jesus Christ, Freikoperkultur, Free Body Culture, or FKK for short.
FKK, great.
Wednesday's incident comes... I love when you have any abbreviation that has just 2 Ks in it. You're really tempting fate on that one.
Oh, yeah.
Wednesday's incident comes just days after a particularly bold urban fox in Berlin was found to have walked off with dozens of people's shoes, which they had unwisely left in their gardens, which was actually going to be one of my other stories.
Great. Well, that leads in quite nicely, doesn't it?
How about I just jump straight to that one, actually, now
Jump
that we've
straight
got
into
a,
the...
got
Now
a
we've
fox
got
one.
We've got the...
This is also from BBC News, which makes sense.
Sure.
Fox found with impressive shoe collection in Berlin.
Fucking animals in Berlin.
A fox in a leafy suburb of Berlin has been getting into the spirit of summer by collecting flip-flops.
As you do.
For weeks, residents of Zellendorf were baffled that a thief was stealing their flip-flops and sports shoes from their gardens at night. Finally, a man spotted the culprit on a patch of wasteland in flagrante, carrying 2 blue flip-flops in its mouth. The Daily Tagesspiegel reads. God, I wish I lived in Germany.
I want the Daily Tagesspiegel.
It's excellent. I'm sure I'm butchering all of these words, but
Probably.
The fox had a hoard of over 100 shoes, but not the man's missing running shoe. The man had suspected... That's a lot of shoes. The man had suspected it might be a fox after raising the matter on a Neighbourhood Watch website and getting complaints from other locals about a missing pair of shoes or one missing shoe. Tagesspiegel editor Felix Hackenbruch posted photos of this evidence on Twitter. So there's a picture of, a little sort of kind of sickly, honestly, looking fox carrying a blue thong.
Well, to be fair, if you were eating exclusively thong rubber, then you probably wouldn't be super healthy.
Oh, golly gosh. Then there's another photo of just like, the grass is just like a field of grass, and then on it is just like dozens of pairs of Crocs. Dozens of pairs of Crocs.
To be honest, this fox is probably doing us a favour. It's ridding the world of Crocs.
This is the fashion fox who
Right, exactly.
solely exists to stop
He's the fashion
this
police.
plague.
He's making sure that people aren't wearing Crocs in public by stealing their Crocs so they can't wear them at all.
I've never tried on Crocs. I'm sure they're comfortable, but they always look like they'd make a loud slapping sound when you walked.
You know when, like, your feet are kind of sweaty and you're wearing thongs and you hear that, like...
Oh, you mean every time I wear thongs? Yes, I'm very familiar.
It, like, makes a nice squeaky noise. That's what I imagine the whole Croc to be like.
My thongs are ergonomic thongs that I got for $30 at the Falls Music Festival out of a tent.
Sure.
They're salmon pink, and when I walk, it makes this loud, like slap flesh on flesh sound.
That's the sound of summer in Australia, Chris. The sound
It's just the sound of... It sounds like someone being slapped in the face quite hard every single time I take a step. And I think it's an emotional slap in the face to the people around me.
I would like to see a horror movie set in Australia where the victim that's getting chased is wearing thongs. And the killer's wearing thongs too, to be fair. And they're both running, doing a chase scene in thongs. And really, the Foley artist has put a lot of effort in to make the thong slap sound very pronounced, you know.
That was my biggest problem with Wolf Creek, was that there wasn't any thong action in that flick. Like, there was, like, the woman
we're talking
gets...
thongs by the Australian meaning here for our American listeners.
Like, there was the bit where the woman gets her, like, fingers and shit cut off, but, like, when they fall to the ground, they just fall to the ground instead of landing on, like, a nice, bright sky blue thong or something like that. Like,
your fetish.
there's just, like, a lot of...
rubber sandals.
I just think that, like, and then the scary Ivan Milat guy, like, he could have been wearing thongs the whole time instead of being dressed up in this lame bushranger outfit. Like,
Well, that's the thing. If you wanted to make a realistic movie about Australia, everyone should be wearing thongs.
all the time.
Exactly.
I bought my brother a pair of thong slippers for his birthday.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
I have
right?
thong slippers too.
Maybe it was Christmas. It was in the past.
Well, there you go. There you go. The thing is, though, that's the important thing we need to realise here, is that every movie about Australia would be improved if you had realistic thong Foley sound effects.
Yeah, that was my biggest problem with the Babadook. A movie that I otherwise like is that the Babadook was not wearing thongs.
He should have been.
Yeah, and I just thought that was really... like, every other character in the movie is wearing thongs, as they should be.
They're denying our culture, frankly, by not showing...
Yeah, this is
Thong-wearing.
thong erasure.
And you know what? Throw in a few characters who don't have any footwear on.
Hell yeah.
I mean, it's Quentin Tarantino, he does that a lot. It's just his Australian representation. There's nothing else happening there.
Yeah, that's because Quentin... Because he needs to jerk it so right. When I was in high school, we went on a trip to Sydney, and it was with the drama class, and I think we saw Jersey Boys, of all
Sure,
things.
it's a good show.
That's fine. To be fair, I don't like musicals. But we were staying in a youth hostel near Hyde Park, and at one point we went out to just, like, hang out in Hyde Park.
Can I just say... I don't know how smart the choice of a youth hostel near Hyde Park for a bunch of teens.
Well, we didn't get up to anything bad. We just all ended up running around in Hyde Park barefoot.
Yes, you do.
And, like, my feet are still needle-free, and I think that's an achievement.
It is an achievement.
But, yeah, that was just one of the few times I've been in
go.
Sydney barefoot, and I thought that was interesting.
I've been in Sydney barefoot a few times too. But, you know, it's not a...
Yeah.
I mean, one of them... It was a thong-related incident in the thong plug tore out, and I didn't have anything to fix it. So
Oh, you hate to see that.
you hate when you're... I don't know what you call it when that happens, but we used to call it, like, a plugger. When thong plug, like, tore out.
It's just the reckoning.
It's just,
when...
yeah.
It's when
basically
God
the worst thing that...
It's every time you buy a pair of thongs, they have, like, God says, you will only have this long with this pair of thongs. It's like when you get a pet and you're like, I know that pets don't live as long as humans do, so, like, there is inevitable sadness in future,
Right.
and the same is true of thongs.
So in this situation, I did have to walk barefoot because I could wear one thong and 1 foot one thong and 1 foot no thong.
That's just a bit gauche, though.
But it's a bit gauche. It was better to have no shoes. So I did walk barefoot to a thong emporium to purchase a new set.
That's kind of awesome, and I love... Do you remember when you could buy Havianas out of vending machines?
Vending machines.
What a delight.
Australian culture.
Yeah.
Australian culture.
Let's wrap up.
Yeah.
Thank
Let's finish up.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. You can find us on Twitter or Instagram at Red Menace Cast, or on Facebook at the Red Menace Podcast. You can find our merchandise on tpublic.com.
What lesson have we learnt today, Chris? What's our takeaway from today's episode?
Wear thongs.
Or don't wear shoes at all.
Don't wear shoes, and you'll be fine, and nothing bad will ever happen to you.
Exactly.
Oh.
That's the take-home lesson.
I've finally released my EP, my extended play, for those of you in the biz.
Well, there you go. Look at you.
It's called Komodo, released it under the name Contextura. You can find it on wherever you find music, Spotify, iTunes, all the good places where they don't pay you any money for anything.
Oh, that.
So if you stream that on Spotify, I'll get like 0.000000001 of a cent, and that'll be pretty sweet, and that's like really going to help me. So do that, please.
Stream Chris's album that he just said.
Stream Chris's album, watch the OC. I don't get any royalties from that, but it is good. Wear thongs or no shoes, they're the two options. Good luck and good night. Lizards unite.
Lizards unite.